Nice. So warm and cozy right now. I'm not a jacket. This one's gonna be so much lazier than usual because I feel so lazy. So we're gonna do first.
Okay.
We're gonna introduce you.
Okay.
And then, I haven't done this in a while, as you can tell.
It's okay.
That's intense. Ooh, yeah. Hello guys, welcome back to week 1 of block 3. Honestly, me and Kat over here were just talking about the fact that we feel so lazy and we don't remember what week it is anymore. Anyways, week 1, I have joined with me Katrina Marks.
Hello.
She is another pipeline student, as a matter of fact, who went ahead and wanted to volunteer for this. So she's very eager to do so. I think she's got a lot of information to throw at your guys' way that is going to be very helpful. So Kat, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Absolutely. I'm Katrina. I grew up in Las Vegas, but I did my undergrad here at University of Nevada, Reno. I have a bachelor's in biology, and like you said, I was a pipeline student, which means I technically applied to a condensed program for undergrad and med school. You apply when you apply to the university, so in high school. And then at the end of your bachelor's degree, you wind up getting an not automatic seat, but a reserved seat for you waiting in medical school, as long as you met certain requirements. That is kind of my path. I'm very interested in pediatrics, and I'm a, what?
Pediatrics.
What?
I'm just playing, guys. I got nothing against pediatrics.
I love pediatrics. I don't know where I want to go. The specialty du jour is Peds ER right now.
So you talked about the fact, that you wanted to do Peds ER, right?
Yes.
So what made you want to come into medical school in the first place?
Obviously, I decided to go into medicine when I was much younger than most people when they decide. I've always kind of grown up in the healthcare field. My dad is a trauma and OR nurse, so I was really comfortable around the hospital. I was used to hearing these stories of things that just went on in the hospital. So I've always been kind of a nerd. I loved science as a kid growing up. I've always wanted to do something sciencey. And so I kind of came into healthcare just realizing I loved working with people. I loved connecting with people. I loved working with kids, and I liked solving problems. I liked having a problem presented to me and then having to kind of think critically and try some things, maybe like trial and error, until I got to a solution that helped someone. And so obviously healthcare is one of the few fields that you get to do both all the time, every day. And so I think that was ultimately what kind of sealed the deal for me.
For week 1 of block 3, what we're doing specifically here now is, for block 1, we went over, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong if I'm saying any of this at all. Block 1, we took care of basic sciences. I guess you could say, we learned a little bit about some hematology and biochemistry, all those other essentials, but it was kind of just I don't know, just...
It was like undergrad in 2 months.
Yeah, it was like a commingle, exactly. It was basically undergrad in 2 months. Then block 2, as I've been talking about before, was definitely the first taste, I guess you'd say, of medical school.
It's when the second years called us real med students.
Yeah, there's more, we would say there was more clinically related stuff. So as I said, we talked about cardiology, renal, and respiratory. Now that sort of journey, if you want to call it that, is going to continue now into block 3. What we're doing now specifically is we're going to start GI, endocrine, and reproductive. There we go. So those 3 subjects right there in GI, if you guys don't know what that is, that's gastrointestinal. We're gonna be focusing on those with this block. With this week, especially being the first week of the block, you have your usual kind of block introduction from those block directors that I talked about before. And what they're doing is kind of just setting out the outlines of what the block is gonna be like. What are we going to expect? What's the basic outline of it going to be? We see new faces for new block directors, and there's going to be kind of a new direction headed with the block. Coming Monday, I was pretty excited about it. It's there's less required stuff now, which people are kind of excited about. I'm a little bit indifferent about it, but you can definitely sense that it's different now. So talking about lectures for this week specifically, we had 13. I counted 13 lectures for this week. I think we haven't had that many lectures since the first week or two of medical school. But keep in mind, the first 2 weeks it was like all undergrad
kind of stuff
review.
You knew before, like if you didn't know it, you'd at least heard the words before.
Yeah, it was like an anatomy and biochemistry galore, but not really. I mean, I heard it's gonna get way heavier, but you now see that everything that is the human body now, stand up, Kat, in this area is all being exposed now. We are getting into the nitty gritty of it. There's gonna be a lot more anatomy labs. Like we already had our first anatomy lab just this past Tuesday, which was awesome. I love being back in there. And a lot of biochemistry. So like talking about, what is it, like fatty acids and synthesis, beta oxidation, all of these other sorts of things. How do you feel about the lectures for this week?
The lectures are really different for sure. I'm someone who's kind of indifferent to lectures. I go to some, I don't go to every lecture. It's just a lot to keep up with. I don't think any of the material is necessarily that complicated or difficult. It was just a lot of it. So I think the hardest part was just keeping up and keeping on track and trying to like track in your mind, okay, this artery's going here and it's branching this way and it meets up with this over here. So it wasn't too conceptually difficult, it's just a lot to keep straight.
For anybody who's an undergrad who's not familiar with medical school, when I keep talking about these blocks, and I don't think I did a good enough of a job of explaining it before, shame on me. So a block essentially is just almost like, it's basically a period of time. So whereas you have semesters in undergrad or you have like quarters in high school, we have blocks,
Okay.
but blocks
That would
are
make sense.
definitely more associated, like she was saying, with specific like organ systems or specific subjects that you want to concentrate on. So that's why I say like block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, they're all divided into specific systems. So for instance, this one, we're doing GI, reproductive, and
Endocrine.
why did I keep forgetting that one? With the block-based system, the first 2 blocks you were doing a thing called POM, which was the practice of medicine. I highly suggest you guys go ahead and watch previous videos if you don't know what that is. We are now continuing that into this block, and if you want to call it semester, call it that, right? That's what we're doing. But it's different now in the fact that we're actually going to be doing preceptorships. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, you want to explain what a preceptorship is?
For those of you who are pre-med or might be considering something in the healthcare field and you've shadowed before, I think of it as like shadowing plus, kind of. So we get to go into the community. We're all partnered with different primary care physicians. I'm in a pediatric office. Brian, where are you?
It's military medicine, so I'm going to...
Oh, very cool. Well, he's doing that. And you get to go and you shadow, but you get to get a little bit more hands-on experience. The doctor interacts with you a little bit more. So depending on your comfort level and what the physician's okay letting you do, you might take some history and physical, like you go in and you ask the questions and kind of do a physical with the patient before the doctor will see him. And so you kind of go present the case to the doctor and then you go in together. You get a little bit more hands-on experience. You get to work with real patients, which is gonna be exciting, instead of like the standardized fake patients we've been working on.
Fake patients.
Oh, they're fun.
They're not real. Now they are real.
Now they are real, which is kind of scary to think about a little bit. We're all excited because it's a taste more of what we actually want to be doing.
Just a little hint, I guess, if you haven't watched the videos from before. I mean, it's not the fact that the patients before weren't real. They were, when we say standardized, it's basically...
Like actors.
Yeah, actors who came in to go ahead and help us with specific scenarios. And it comes from the basics of literally being able to take a history, doing physicals on the standardized patients themselves, kind of just like organizing your thoughts on how to go ahead and engage in that interaction with your future patients. So now that we have that foundation locked on from the first semester, if you want to call it that, I call it block 1, block 2, we're going to carry that forward now into block 3, 4, and 5 with those preceptorships, and it's basically just continuity with that now. It's kind of exciting, probably scary for a little bit of people, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm actually pretty excited about it. This is one of my more favorite topics to talk about, guys, and that being weeks and weekends. especially. And she knows probably what I'm gonna go with this.
I can guess. I can guess.
Me and Kat actually, and I love the fact that I get to bring her on for this because I did one of my favorite things I love to do in the world. I'm not great at it. I'm gonna get there. But we went to go to, what is it called, the pepper mill?
Yeah.
Basically went to go casino to go salsa dancing, my friend.
Olay.
We went to go ahead and do that on the weekend, and one of the things I walked into this block, especially after block 2's like nightmare, I was almost afraid I wasn't gonna have enough time to go out nearly as much as I wanted to. That was an intensive block, and block 3 I was definitely hoping I'd be able to do more of that. I will say without a doubt, going, even though we had 13 lectures this week, going salsa dancing with Kat was by far one of the best decisions I had made during the week and the weekend.
Same.
Like I can't tell you how much of a mental recovery that was. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I took some convincing because I was in the boat of like, I'm so behind, I need the time, I don't really know. So I have a little bit of dancing experience, nothing formal. I just kind of taken classes here and there, so like, I don't really know about this. And Brian literally called me, he was like, are you familiar with the phrase, it takes 2 to tango? I think was the exact quote. I'm like, oh, fine, okay, shoot, we'll go, it'll be fun. And it was so fun, and it definitely left me so much more refreshed and just re-energized for my weekend to get more stuff done. I got to learn a new skill, which was super fun, and I definitely think we're gonna go back soon.
Oh, we're going back. I want to reiterate, I'm so sorry. My words suck today.
It's okay.
I want to reiterate to you guys this specific point, and the reason I really like to highlight like these specific weekend things, and you're probably thinking to yourself like, oh, it's medical school, you know, why are you, like, you have to be worrying about academic and professional stuff, like why are you worrying about going out on a weekend dancing and stuff? And I seriously cannot just emphasize the fact of how important it is for you to go ahead and revitalize or re-energize, whatever the word you want to put yourself, so that you are ready for studying. When I go ahead and just like try to power through an entire week, maybe even 2 weeks in a row without just refreshing myself in some sense, it just doesn't feel right. I am not able to go ahead and come like with the, or how would I say, engage in my material with like 100% of my focus because of the fact that I have these distractions and my body is just totally out of tune. Like I haven't, so weird, like fulfilled its needs and desires that it truly wants. So just for me to go salsa and dancing, you really need that time to go ahead and recharge yourself, especially when it's coming to difficult material as medical school. Talking about this specific stuff, you're gonna get almost annoyed to the point where you're like, okay, like I get it. We do need to recharge ourselves.
Burnout's real in med school. They kind of lecture us about it ad nauseum sometimes. Like, we get it, we need to prevent burnout. But it happens, especially when you have so much material, like 13 lectures in a week, and you feel like you need to stay caught up. It's really easy to kind of isolate yourself and kind of bunker down and study. So it's important to take breaks, and it's important to have friends that will force you to take breaks too sometimes. I
didn't force you.
You didn't force me, but you strongly encouraged.
I motivated you too.
Motivated me. That's a better word. Motivated. Dude, I'm tired.
With the new introduction of a new block, there are certain challenges that arise, and I would say new challenges especially. I think with block 1, I mean, you just have the new challenge of having to enter medical school for the first time, and I'm sure that can have, you know, a massive toll on like maybe even like your mental health, maybe even spiritual health when you enter in. So once you conquer that specific challenge, then block 2 comes to hit you in the face. You're hitting real clinical stuff for the first time, and you're learning difficult cardiology and renal material that makes you just want to go ahead and regret the fact that I'm not gonna say it, but
it challenges
it just go ahead.
I was gonna say it challenges your drive to be a doctor is the best way to put that.
The amount of material, the amount of material you have to go ahead and consume and know for that block is just a challenge in of itself that you have to overcome. And then now the third block. So now that I've gotten over those first two things, I've kind of thought about it over the winter break, which was, I'm going to go ahead and supercharge block 3 with the plan in mind. And even though I may not be ready, I kind of got to ask myself, what should I expect now? Like, what kind of challenges can I foresee with this block? And so one of the questions I want to ask you is, now that you've kind of gone over the hurdles of block 1 and block 2, like what new challenges do you see for us as a first year medical student in block 3 that you think these guys should know about?
What Brian alluded to. So block 1 was really just for me about transitioning to life as a medical student, figuring out how does this all work? What do these words mean? I'm really not familiar with this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of acronyms that people just, apparently everyone else knows. So I spent a lot of time Googling what acronyms meant. And so that was kind of block 1. Block 2, like you said, was like our first real block. And so for me, it was just learning how to do that now, learning how to learn a body system. I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple close calls. I didn't struggle per se, but it was a lot harder than I was expecting coming out of block 1, going into block 2. Now moving into block 3, I know where those pitfalls were. I know kind of how what I was doing wasn't working. So block 3 for me is gonna be correcting those. Because I got to a point last semester where I'm like, I can't possibly be studying more, so I need to study differently now. And so I think block 3 for me is gonna be a lot about being okay with change and being uncomfortable, trying out new study methods. And then being open to seeing how those work or don't work and being able to change based on that feedback.
I love the fact that those words have not come out of your mouth, because I don't like to say facts or opinions and kind of impose it onto somebody. But I think the main point taken away from this now, from what Kat is saying, is from what I expected when I was an undergrad, or maybe if you're watching this thinking about coming into medical school, when you hear about the huge rigors of what medical school is going to be like, I would say we've gotten over one obstacle of that. I heard like block 4 and 5 is going to be massively just tough.
I am worried for that.
But yeah, the important point is the fact that you can see the progression we're going through, and the fact that medical school, like in and of itself, is not difficult at some like straight level. I feel like they definitely ease you into it so that you have the capability to do it. And if you guys are doing interview cycles, they're really just trying to see if you have that preliminary, say requirements or
Stamina.
values, beliefs, stamina, whatever you want to call it, to be able to go ahead and handle the journey that is medical school. Because you're not going to get hit with just all of that cardiology stuff right at the beginning and all these other things.
Not quite at the beginning.
Yeah, it is a journey. It is not just a one set go kind of thing. I really like it.
I agree. Like you would never give an undergrad, if you take an undergrad, a little baby freshman, you'd never give them an upper division course because they're not ready for it. So I definitely feel like that's how med school has been. Like I was going in really nervous, but they do a good job of kind of slowly easing you into it, showing you the ropes, and then slowly handing you the harder material once you're ready for it. You'd never bench. Okay, I don't bench, so I can't make this analogy, but you wouldn't lift a stupid amount of weight to start with. You'd start with weights you knew you could handle, and then you handle those, so they add on more weights and more weights. I realized that was a poor choice of analogies for someone who does not work out that much.
I like to do this, okay?
Okay.
All right. Pick a question, 3 or 4.
What?
It was supposed to come out that way. Pick a number, 3 or 4.
3.
All right. Okay, I like this one. For those interested in coming into medicine, what is your single most crucial advice or tip you would give to them?
Make sure it's what you want. Absolutely. A lot of people like the idea of medicine, I think. And I'm not saying that everyone who's pre-med is like this, but I know a lot of people who don't have a lot of exposure, like the idea of medicine. So I really recommend getting as much experience as you can, whether that's shadowing, you're scribing in an ER, I know people who have gone and taken a couple of night classes to become a CNA while they're in undergrad. Whatever you gotta do to get yourself in a hospital, in a clinical setting of some kind. I'm sure if you reach out to us, both of us have lots of experience with that. Medical school, as much as I love it, is pretty tough. Personally, I couldn't get through medical school if I didn't 100% know I want to be a doctor. So yeah.
That was a great answer. I love that.
Thank you.
Only from Kat. So guys, you heard it from me and Kat in our completely deprived, lazy states after week 1 of block 3. I don't even know what week really is. I'm gonna guess week 18. I'm probably wrong.
Pick a number. We'll go with it.
And here comes Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina. Hi.
So that wraps it up, guys. Hopefully we are gonna have a amazing, fantastic Block 3. I'm actually very excited for it coming over into winter break and reevaluating everything that we did. If you guys have any questions pertaining to, you know, maybe an idea of what is GI, what is endocrinology, what is all these subjects that we're going to go ahead and study. What is salsa dancing, right? Or if you have any questions about anything we discussed in this video, like we said before, feel free to go ahead and reach out to us in the comment section below. If you like the content of this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you like the content of the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. I love to help out you guys as much as I can. And
we made it.
thank you for watching, and I'll go ahead and catch you guys next time. And then this is always, I gotta say something. Ready?
That's something in Spanish?
Yes, believe in love.
I love how you don't know how to say it.
I'm so tired, man. I'm so cold. I am so cold right now. And when I'm cold and stuff, dude, and we're just no rest, I don't think straight.
With coffee, that is.
Yeah, it is creer en amor.
3 years of high school Spanish apparently did me a lot of good.
Sunglasses? How about you say it? Like, give him like a deep face, like, like. Do you see my face?
Yes.
And then you say creer en amor.
Creer en amor. I have white girl Spanish.
Do you want me to say it?
Yes, because I know how to say one sentence in French and that's it.
Creer en amor. I can't do it without sunglasses, damn it. If I go like this. We're just gonna cut it, damn it.
All right.
I should have brought my sunglasses.